Jaya Hari Jaya Hari Jaya Yamuna Niramanjari Jaya Krishna Krishna Hare Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravamani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavati Astadadeshvari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Vrindavan Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Nitai 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 Gauranga Nitai 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 Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jai Satchidananda Jai Satchidananda Jai Satchidananda Jai Satchidananda Jai Govinda Jai Govinda Ishwarada Jai Govinda Jai Govinda Ishwarada Daya Daya Prabhu Daya Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jai Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jai Giri Govardhan, Jai Giri Govardhan, Jai Giri Govardhan, Jai Giri Govardhan, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Balaram, Jai Subharam, Jai Radha-Nandishwara, Radha-Nandishwara, Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagwan Ki Jai. All the wonderful Vaishnavas on this Zoom meeting, Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. Thank you so much, Bhuvneshwari Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mataji. That was wonderful. Thank you very much. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnantimirandasya Gnananjalasalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanyam Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishan Khan Vitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining.
Mataji, your camera is a little bit off center. Yeah, it is better now. Yes, this is better. Yeah, bend, if you can bend your camera a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, that's much better now. Much better. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna to everyone. And thank you very much for joining and giving your time on Sunday. Before I begin, I would like to ask blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas. I am not qualified to give a class, and if I make a mistake, please forgive me and correct me. I hope I can say something that will be of use to everyone. Thank you. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine. Today is the disappearance day of Sri Jagannath Babaji. So I've been asked to say a few things about him. I'm completely not qualified to speak about such an elevated devotee, a Vaishnava of the topmost class, but I will try. Sri Jagannath Babaji was born in Tangalia portion of Mayaman, Singha district in East Bengal, which is at present in Bangladesh, in 1789 AD. And he lived for 147 years. Babaji took Diksha from Sri Madhusudan Das Babaji, who was a resident of Suryakund. Dadaji was given a title of Siddh Vaishnav, which means that he is the topmost Vaishnav of all, and he adopted the life of a Paramahans. And used to reside, Babaji used to reside for 6 months in Vrindavan and 6 months in Navdeep. And when he was in Navdeep, he was in the pastimes of Vrindavan. And when he was in Vrindavan, he was in the pastimes of Gauranga in the Navdeep thing, which is really, he used to spend all the time in chanting the glories of the lordships. And he hardly slept. All night he was chanting. And he was very young. I don't remember what age he was, but he was very, very young when he actually got darshan of Radha and Krishna as well as Gauranga. And since that day, he's been completely and utterly absorbed in devotion, pure devotion, bhakti. And Babaji was given a title to the people that were always in bhajan, doing bhajan all the time. There's one pastimes about Babaji. When he was in Navdvip, some rich people came to see him because they had heard about him, that he was a Siddh Bhakta, and they wanted to test him to find out what he can do. And they came there, and at that time Babaji was in the pastime of Radhakund, so they were asking Babaji to show them something, siddhi, some siddhi they wanted him to show. And Babaji didn't say anything, and he was just, because he was completely absorbed in Radha Kund pastimes. And then he always had to have a stick next to him, and with his stick he started to beat on the floor, saying shoo, shoo, shoo. And these merchants got scared. They thought, oh, we would say something to Babaji to make him angry, And they said, we better go away from here. And Babaji said, I'm not angry at you, at all, what. So they said, why did you beat with the stick then? What was the reason for doing that? And Babaji said, there was a goat that had wandered into the samadhi of Loknath Swami, and they were spoiling the saplings of the tulsi plants. So I was shooing them away so they wouldn't spoil the tulsi plant saplings. And these people, because they were rich, they wanted to prove that what Babaji had said was true. So they sent a telegram to Vrindavan to ask what had happened at that time, exactly on that day. And from Vrindavan, they said, well, there was a goat that had wandered into the samadhi of Loknath Swami and was spoiling the tulsi plants. So Babaji shoot them away. And they realized that Babaji had this siddhi, and that he was doing something that was out of the ordinary. But you can see that because they were not interested in devotion or even anything at all, they didn't take up any bhakti. They just proved that yes, he was he had the siddhi, and that's it. They went away, which is amazing. That just shows that you can have some association with a pure devotee, but if you're not looking for devotion, then you're not going to benefit anything from it. Another another thing was that Babaji was always very, very respectful to all the living entities in the holy dhams. Once, while he was in Vrindavan, he asked begged for a roti from a Vrindavan sweeper. And the sweeper said, "But I can't give it to you. You know, I'm so low class. I can't give you a chapati, you know." And Babaji said, "No, no, give me." And he said, "But you know that it's not right for me to give it." And Babaji said, "No, give it to me." So this sweeper gave him a couple of chapatis. And Babaji ate it. When the residents of Vrindavan found this out, what Babaji had done, they were not pleased with Babaji at all. And they started to talk among themselves that Babaji shouldn't have done this. So the leader of the Vrindavan resident, he came and told Babaji about this. He said, "You are such an elevated person and everyone's talking against you, and I can't see that, that I'm not happy that everyone's talking about you in this way." And Babaji explained the reason for him asking for a chapati from a sweeper. He said, "You all know it. You are also what do you call it? Knowledgeable, and you know that the dust of Vrindavan is so potent. It's so lovely that the dust that even Brahmaji wishes to have some dust of Vrindavan. So if I asked for chapati from a sweeper, what's wrong with that? Because he is actually he's serving the Vrindavan dust. He's sweeping all the time. He's having all that dust scattered on him all the time. And he's more pure than we are. And that is the reason that, I asked for a chapati from him and ate it, because he's such a pure person, always rolling in Vrindavan dust. So those are a couple of things that, is that enough, Prabhuji, yeah? A couple of things. There's a lot of other things, but, I think, otherwise we'll just take up some more time. So I hope that inspires people about Jagannath Babaji. Also, Jagannath Babaji was the one. I think one thing I should mention is that Jagannath Babaji was the one that confirmed the place of Lord Chaitanya's Mahaprabhu's place of birth. Because when Vinoda Thakur Vinoda found out that Bhakti Vinoda Thakur found out that he had a vision, and when he wanted to confirm it, that it was true that Lord Chaitanya was born there, he went with Babaji to confirm it. And at that time, Babaji was so old that he couldn't even walk, and he was being carried in a basket by his servant called Bihari. But when he reached that place, he started singing the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and actually bolted out of the basket and started doing an ecstatic dance. Babaji was very fond of dancing and kirtan. And every time there was a kirtan or sankirtan, he used to dance and sing in ecstasy. And that confirmed that place of Lord Chaitanya's birthplace. I think we should take this opportunity to ask Srila Jagannath Babaji for his blessings, so that he can bestow us with pure devotion as well, like he did. Thank you. That was about Sri Jagannath Babaji. Babaji, will I be able to share the screen?
Sure, I will. Do you want to do? I can give you rights.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Or if you want, I can also share, but just give me 1 second. I'll make you co-host. Yes, now you can share. You okay? You need any?
Prabhuji, it's on my computer.
Yes.
I've got a PowerPoint thing on my computer. So how do I do it?
Okay. So
I've gone into files, but
on the bottom of your screen, you would see a green button where it says share screen.
yeah.
And you need to click that. When you click that, then you can see whichever window you wanted to share. You have to press that window or PowerPoint, whichever. Then you'll be able to do that.
No, all I'm getting is multiple participants. Wait.
Okay. Did you open PowerPoint? Can you open PowerPoint on your computer?
Okay, just hang on. I need to come out of this, don't I?
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Right, I got it there.
So if you, after you have opened it, then can you press that button, click that button, share screen button.
Mataji, I think you need to click in the middle of the share screen button. Sometimes if you click in the corner, something else comes up.
Right, okay.
Can you see that share screen button?
Yes, probably I can see the share.
When you click that,
and go into files, yeah?
No need to go to the files. If you have opened it, you would be able to see on your computer. Then you can choose that particular screen. Okay, so if you're struggling, maybe you can just open there. Yeah. Technology.
No.
Okay, don't worry about. You can just look at the presentation and explain. If you want the words, I can share it from here.
Okay, Prabhuji, no problem. Yeah, it's 7:14, isn't it, that we're doing?
Yes, we are doing 7:14. Yes.
Daivihi esha gunamaye mama maya duratyaya mameva ya prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Translation. Devi, transcendental. Oh, we're not doing, okay. Okay, Prabhuji, no problem. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai. The Supreme Personality of, does anybody want to read the purport? Is there any volunteers who would like to read the purport?
Meena Mataji, yes.
Yeah, sure, Mataji, go ahead.
Sure. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies are divine. Although the living entities are part of his energies and are therefore divine, due to contact with material energy, their original superior power is covered. Being thus covered by material energy, one cannot possibly overcome its influence. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual natures, being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal. The living entities belong to the eternal superior nature of the Lord, but due to contamination by the inferior nature, matter, the illusion is also eternal. The conditioned soul is therefore called Nitya Bhada. or eternally conditioned. No one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult, even though that material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the supreme will, which the living entity cannot overcome. Inferior material nature is defined herein as divine nature due to its divine connection and movement by the divine will. Being conducted by divine will, material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of the cosmic manifestation. The Vedas confirm this as follows. Mayam tu prakritim vidyan, mayinam tu maheshwaram. Although Maya illusion is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead, who is Maheshwara, the supreme controller. Shvetashvatara Upanishad 4.10. Another meaning of guna is rope. It is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. A man bound by the hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be helped by a person who is unbound. Because the bound cannot help the bound, the rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. Devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of the illusory energy, can order his insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy on the surrendered soul and out of his paternal affection for the living entity who is originally a beloved son of the Lord. Therefore, surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of the stringent material nature. The words Mam Eva are also significant. Mam means unto Krishna, Vishnu only, and not Brahma or Shiva. Although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnations of Rajoguna passion and Tamoguna ignorance to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is the master of Maya. Therefore, he alone can give release to the conditioned soul. The Vedas, Shvetashvatara Upanishad 3.8, confirm this in the phrase Tam eva viditva, or freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. Even Lord Shiva affirms that liberation can be achieved only by the mercy of Vishnu. Lord Shiva says, Mukti pradhata sarvesham Vishnur eva na samshayaha. There is no doubt that Vishnu is the deliverer of liberation for everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Right. I'm going to begin by saying a little bit about the material universe. The universe around us is orderly and symmetrical, and everything is perfect and works perfectly in the orbit. Even if you look at our human body, it works perfectly, and it's got such complex systems in it, complex circulatory system, respiratory system, digestive systems, even the atoms themselves, which are so tiny, are highly structured. This suggests that there is an intelligence in creation. So the person who's created this universe, the cosmos, Krishna, is the person who's created the whole cosmos. He also pervades it and annihilates the whole cosmos through his material energy. Although he is the supreme director, yet the material world nevertheless moves independently. Therefore, Krishna can remain neutral and detached. in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it states that Lord Brahma lives for one breath of Mahavishnu. When Mahavishnu exhales, the material elements and universes emanate from him. And when he inhales back, or everything goes back inside him, so that means it's destroyed. The universes are destroyed and all the living entities merge into his body. Thus, all the Brahmas and all the universes, because there's millions and billions of universes that are created with one breath of Mahavishnu. And with one breath, everything is taken back inside him. The one lifetime of Brahma, it says in the Bhagavatam, is 310 trillion years. That is solar years here. And at present, Brahma's life has passed 455 trillion years. So that means everything, all the species and everything has been in existence for 155 trillion years. Now in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that in all the planets in the material world, all the way from the highest planet, which is in Brahma, to the lowest planet, it's full of misery, and there is birth and death, so whoever is born has to die. Now in this material cosmos, it's composed of 24 elements, and one of the elements is the three modes of material nature. So I have given a class on material nature before, but I'll just go through it briefly here. Prakriti, or material nature, is of two kinds. There is a material energy, which is inferior, and there is a superior energy, and we are superior energy, and the universe material nature is of the inferior energy. But and there is three kinds of the modes of material nature: the sattva gun, which is mode of goodness; tamogun, which is mode of ignorance; and rajogun, which is mode of passion. And when we come in contact with the material nature, we get affected by the three modes of material nature. The tamogun and rajogun actually disturbs our mind, which distracts us from self-realization. This material energy is impregnated with living entities by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It says so in the 14.4 Bhagavad Gita, and also in the Bhagavatam Canto as well, 4.24.63, it says that the material energy is created by the glance of the Lord, which sets into motion the three material modes. And this material energy is first created in the Mahatattva. And if anybody wants to know more about it, they can read Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2. It explains everything about the Mahatattva. Now, all the beings in this material world are like puppets in the hand of the nature of the three gunas. But because we are influenced by Maya, which is illusion, they think they're independent. In Bhagavad Gita 3.27, it says, Prakrute kriyamanani guna karmana sarvasa ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. That means we think we are doing everything, but actually it is the three modes of material nature that is doing everything. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, text 6 to 8 explains the effects of the modes on the conditioned soul and forces the soul to experience his existence. We'll notice that in every country there's a prison, and I think that's the first thing that is thought about and built. Now, why do you think the prison is built? Because the state knows that not everybody is going to follow the state laws. And anybody who doesn't follow the state laws, they have to go to the prison, for punishment. And it's not only just punishment, it is also reformation, but a lot of them don't really come out of the prison reformed, because of the way that things are in Kali Yuga anyway. But actually the prison is supposed to be for reform. So we have our desires, and because we had desires, Krishna created this material universe so that we could come in here and enjoy independently of the Lord. So created these universes. He provided everything that was necessary for us. And, he sent us all here so that we would reform, understand what the proper goal is and what our proper duty should be, and come out of it. But the problem is that we are not aware that this is like a prison where we have to reform. And the three gunas are like ropes that bind us. So the mode of goodness is like a rope of gold. The Rajoguna is like a rope of silver, and Tamoguna is like a rope of metal. And these three modes are ropes that bind the conditioned soul to this material nature. It's mentioned in this verse that, we are bound, and only a person that is not bound can actually free us. When you're in a prison, does it really matter what rope you are bound with, because you are still bound, So what is it that keeps us bound in this material world? It is only our ego, pride, greed, anger. These are the things that keeps us bound. It's our taste for eating, sleeping, mating, defending. We're doing exactly the same as animals, but in a much more polished way. And we are always thinking, how can I increase my comfort? How can I become more comfortable? What can I do to, make me enjoy more? These senses are so strong. And I can give you an example, like, for example, a bee. A bee is attracted by the nectar in the flowers, and it goes from flowers to flowers collecting nectar, and sometimes it gets really intoxicated in collecting this nectar. And there are some flowers that close at night, Now, if the bee has entered it late and, it's so intoxicated, it doesn't even realize that it is still inside the flower when it closes at night. It will get trapped inside and will suffocate. And this is how strong the senses are. There's another example as well of a moth getting attracted by light, and will enter a fire and will be killed. So the senses are so very much strong. And women and wealth are these stumbling blocks for progressing in spiritual life. So as you know, that we're working very hard, to accumulate wealth, fame, honors, and we're always working. We want to leave a legacy for our children, and there's always some desires for us, to keep on accumulating things. And Prabhupada calls these accumulations of things as decorations on a dead body. We have to control our mind and senses, which is the real wealth. Real wealth brings us happiness, which is not subjected to the changing dualities, because this world is full of dualities. Where there's happiness, there's got to be sorrow, wind, cold, heat. So that sort of dualities, they are not in our control. It's controlled by the nature and controlled by other things as well. So we are not really independent, and we cannot do anything about the dualities. The only thing we can do is that we can control our mind and senses, so things like that does not affect us. And now chapter 14, is a very, very important chapter for us to understand. And in the first two, verse 1 and 2, it states that the knowledge that is being revealed contains supreme wisdom, best of all knowledge, and many sages have attained supreme perfection. So it's very important for us to understand why Krishna said it is the most supreme wisdom, is because, you know, it gives us the understanding of how these modes actually act and how they will bind us. And if we understand this knowledge that is contained in this chapter, we can make our life perfect. It contains powerful knowledge, and if we understand it and practice it with devotion and proper attitude, our faith can be strong. Whatever actions we perform, the soul gets conditioned by the three modes of material nature. So it doesn't really matter whether you are in goodness, in passion, or ignorance. It still is going to bind you, you know. So this three modes can be taken like a framework, you know, like in a business, you have a framework, when to start work, when to do this, you know, when to do that. Even in Ayurveda, you know, you've got the framework, you know, you've got the Pitta Kapha, Pitta Vat, Kapha Vat, and Vayu Vat. And there's mixtures as well. And, you know, when they find out what body type you are, they can actually guide you to the diet and what you should do to make yourself healthy. So in such a way, in the same way, for, you know, we can have these gunas like a framework. We can find out what the mode of goodness, what the qualities are, what the what we do can be used to find out whether we are in the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, or in the mode of ignorance. So, you know, like Sattva gun is pure than other modes. So when is one in mode of goodness, then the mind is affected by happiness, knowledge. You can see things clearly, you can hear clearly, you can think clearly, you act respectfully, you are kind, you sleep early, wake up early, you're mentally stable, and you have clarity. It is like poison at first, but becomes nectar at the end, and it also releases you all from all the sins. Rajagun, Rajagun is unlimited desires, greed, lust, interested in fruitive activities, which actually leads to misery. So, for example, you know, we are all aware of the environmental climate crisis, and this is because of the exploitation of Mother Earth. You know, so people have exploited her so much that we are having this environmental crisis. So Rajagun doesn't think of what is going to happen next, you know, later on or in the future. All they are concerned about is how they can become happy now. So the other example you can say is, you know, you can go and buy things now and pay later, and then people get into debt, you know, and cannot get out of the debt. So it causes them misery. So it is like nectar at first, but poison at the end, and it binds you to the fruitive activities. The person that is in Rajagun is very self-centered, selfish, is not kind, you know, and he cannot see anything beyond his little world. In Tamagun, that's the lowest of the all three gunas, and people is lazy, unclean habits, they're very envious, they act in dirty way and have mental challenges, you know. So according to one's faith, work, association, choice of food, charity, austerity, sacrifice, a particular mode becomes predominant within one. So these modes are not as if, you know, that you have got just one mode inside you. You got a mixture of all three of them. And by acting in a certain way, that guna is prominent, you know. So in this chapter, it says, I mean, in this verse, it says that we are all bound and we need to get out of it, you know. And the only way that you can actually overcome this binding and be released is by devotional service. Devotional service means that you are doing activities that are going to please Krishna rather than to fulfill your own desires. So you use your skills, your money, anything, you know, to offer everything or some proportion to Krishna. So a devotee actually uses all his senses for in Krishna's task. So, like you can use your eyes and ears to read and hear the scriptures. You can use your nostrils to smell the flowers that has been offered to the Lord. You can use your mouth and your tongue to taste the food that has been offered as prasad offered to the Lord as prasad, and to chant the mantras. And by chanting and following the 4 regulative principles of no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, and no gambling, it gradually takes a person from the mode of passion and ignorance to the mode of goodness. And that's the chance. If you are in a mode of goodness, then that's our chance to transcend from these 3 modes. And because our heart becomes clean. In the Sistaskam prayers, it says that we have to clean our heart, so that if we cannot clean our heart, then we can see clearly what's happening. And to return back to Godhead, we have to transcend these 3 modes. Otherwise, there is no way that we can come out of this material universe. We'll be in a cycle of birth and death. So it does not mean that we have to give up activities. All it means is that we have to do things, but we don't get attached to the results. And we just offer everything to Krishna, all the results to Krishna as well. And we just do all our activities with Krishna in the center. And that way we can be in the mode of goodness. Eventually, when you become more pure, then you have a chance of transcending these 3 modes of material nature and become one with Krishna. So we have to practice devotional service, and you cannot be unbound. It says in the verse that a bound person cannot unbind another person. So if you were both bound together, there's no way that one person can unbind the other one. So for this reason, you need somebody that is pure and unbound already, and that is a spiritual master, in the parampara system, or a pure devotee. That is, we've got 4 parampara systems, and it could be any of those ones from the parampara system. You accept him as a spiritual master, and he will guide you on what to do to transcend the modes of the material nature. And Prabhupada has given the full philosophy on this. So I'll just read that one out. It says, transcendentally situated persons have no envy and do not hanker for anything. They perform their duties in Krishna consciousness, indifferent to honor and dishonor. They have nothing to do with material existence. Social and political issues do not affect them. They do nothing for their own sake and everything for Krishna. Srila Prabhupada writes, when one is conscious of the material body, he acts only for sense gratification. But when one transfers the consciousness to Krishna, sense gratification automatically stops. One does not need this material body, and he does not need to accept the dictations of the material body. The qualities of the material modes in the body will act, but as spirit soul, the self is aloof from such activities. How does he become aloof? He does not desire to enjoy the body, nor does he desire to get out of it. Thus, transcendentally situated, the devotee becomes automatically free. He need not try to become free from the influence of the modes of material nature. So in our devotional practice, we have got 9 processes, 9 distinct processes, which is Shravanam, which is hearing, Kirtanam, which is chanting, Vishnu Smaranam, which is remembering the Lord, Padasevanam, which is serving the Lord's lotus feet, Archanam, which is deity worship, Vandanam, which is praying, Dasyam, carrying out the orders of the Lord, Sakyam, becoming friends with him, and Atma Nivedan, which is surrendering everything to him. And these are the 9 distinct processes of devotional service, and doing any one of them perfectly, one can attain perfection. So it's not as if you have to do all of them. Okay. So because Maya is very strong and it is difficult to escape from the clutches of Maya, the clutch of Maya can be compared to the jaw of a crocodile. So when you have when you're having a bad patch in your life, or even few days when you're having a bad patch, you think you have hope that something, that something good will happen and that this bad patch will pass and better time will come. This is how Maya works, because she's tricking you, thinking that, you can come out of the bad patch. Of course, you do come out. It's not as if you don't, but you are taking shelter of Maya, which will not let you escape. So in Bhagavatam, there is a story about Gajendra. Gajendra was having a great time, and he went, you can say he went for a holiday, and the pond was really lovely and beautiful, and everything was peaceful and it was beautiful. And he was enjoying himself. And he went into the lake to enjoy with all the she elephants, the wives of the Gajendra. And he was having a good time, but then a crocodile catches hold of its leg. The Gajendra tries to free himself from the clutches of the crocodile, but he doesn't succeed. Gajendra fought for 1,000 celestial years with this crocodile, and he just could not come out of the grip of the crocodile. This is how Maya works, that she just grips you so hard, and then, when you're trying to come out, Maya will entice you with something, and you get gripped again. So this Gajendra probably is thinking that maybe the crocodile will let the grip go, will loosen, and I will be able to free myself. And this way, there was a fight between the two. Maybe the crocodile was thinking the same thing, that I'll get him because Gajendra will get tired. And they were both having a fight for thousands of years. And in the end, Gajendra thought, I can't do this. I can't help myself. And he prayed to Vishnu to free him from this. And that's when Vishnu came and freed him and got rid of the crocodile for him. So this is the only way that we can also come out of the clutches of Maya. Prabhupada actually has described our body as a cage. In a cage, a bird is trapped. And sometimes maybe a kind person will say, oh, let this bird fly away from the cage and it can have freedom. But the bird doesn't fly away. It does fly away, but it comes back to the cage again. So it flies away and comes back because, it's so much used to this cage that it cannot find life outside the cage, and it will come back. So all the species, all the bodies of the different species, they are like cages. And, the only cage, the human body, is the only one where, somebody is going to open the latch for you and free you from the cage if you want to. So this is our chance to escape back to Godhead from the clutches of Maya and stop the cycle of birth and death, going in an everlasting cycle. We've been going through birth and death for God knows how many years, long time. And there is only one way of escaping the clutches of Maya. And it can only happen when we are completely exhausted and feel helpless, like Gajendra did. He tried his best to fight this crocodile, but he couldn't do it. And when he couldn't do it, he was completely exhausted and he felt really helpless, that he prayed to Krishna to help him. So we have to surrender to Krishna. And the surrender has to come from within us with feelings. It is not dependent on how many verses we can recite, how many rounds we can chant, how many pilgrimage we have been on, how many parikramas that we have done. All this is necessary to bring us to total surrender, but all that is not required. Now, also, Krishna also reciprocates to this degree of surrender you have, So he wants total surrender. Then, we can go back. Because Krishna wants to give you the best, he wants total surrender. And as long as we have false hope and think that things will get better, that I can come out of this situation, we are not able to surrender to Krishna. And then Maya is not going to let go of the grip and will not let you go, because this is her job. She's like a prisoner officer, keeping all the prisoners in. So, Maya is also doing her job. She's relentless and she's eternal, like it says in the verse, that it is eternal. So we have to move into the mode of pure goodness and then surrender to Krishna. And by doing this, we can come out of the clutches of Maya. Because you have to also take into consideration that even devotion can be in either mode of passion, mode of goodness, or mode of ignorance. So even when you are thinking that, oh, I am I'm doing devotions, you still have got to think, which mode am I doing the devotion in? If you're not doing it in the mode of goodness, then you still have, this is like a journey, whatever mode you are doing things in. Like I said, you have this framework. You have to think about all the activities you're doing in the framework, and you got to think, am I doing it in mode of ignorance? Am I doing it in mode of passion, or am I doing it in mode of goodness? And then you got to try and see how you can move onto the journey so you can come into mode of goodness. And if you're in mode of goodness, then you've got to think, how am I going to do it so that I can transcend these three modes and come out of it, and then surrender to Krishna. And that is the only way that you can do it. So to summarize today's class, we have got to think about whether we want to surrender or not, and whether we want to come out of these material modes of nature. I suggest that you all read chapter 14 and try to understand it, because that gives you the modes of nature, the three modes of nature, and how it binds you and how you can use this powerful knowledge to make progress in devotion. For chapter 14 and 17 has got the qualities and the things that people can do in different modes. It explains about charity, austerity, sacrifice, the foods that people prefer and things like that in different modes. So you got to see how you can improve yourself in your own devotion. And by doing your devotion properly, you can surrender yourself. Thank you very much for listening. If I made any thing that's made any mistakes, please chastise me. Any questions? I will try and answer. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for that wonderful class. Any devotees have any comments or any questions? Those who are on the YouTube, if you want to make a comment, just put it in the chat box. I'll read it out. Oops.
Is controlling our senses oops.
Yeah.
I've got a question from Ben Warren. He says, is controlling our senses possible by our endeavors or solely on the mercy of the Lord? We cannot do anything on our own. Krishna looks at the endeavors, so we have to try. And Krishna says how much you are faithful to your endeavors? What mode you're doing your endeavors in? Have you got, like, you could be doing something like, say, for instance, you're doing some book distribution for Krishna. Are you really doing it for Krishna, or is it because you are, you're interested in people giving you praise or fame or something of that sort? So it is your attitude. How you're doing the activity depends on your attitude. If your attitude is good, then Krishna will help you to progress. I hope, Ben, that answers the question.
So yeah, Ben Prabhu.
Is there any more additions, Gauranath Prabhu, to that question?
Which question? Ben Prabhu's question?
Yes.
I think you have answered it. But
also chanting helps, doesn't it, as well, I think, in controlling our senses.
Yeah, if I can just say one thing, the endeavor should be there, definitely. But at the same time, we should depend fully on the mercy of our spiritual master and Krishna. That is very important. It doesn't mean that we don't endeavor. Endeavor should be there. Even if we endeavor, we may not be able to overcome, but that endeavor should be there. At the same time, the mercy, beg for the mercy of the Lord. And we see, like, Prabhupada is a wonderful example. How many people came out of so many bad habits because of Prabhupada? Isn't it? Sometimes when we are stuck in a problem, when we are having a problem, when we are unable to control the senses, we think that it would be impossible for us to come out. But however, by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, then we see in the scriptures time and again that is achievable. So two things are required, I would say. Endeavor, definitely. And while endeavoring, we begged for the mercy of Vaishnavas, Guru, and Krishna. So that's what I can think of, Mataji, on that.
Could I add something, Mataji? Lalita Priti.
Sure. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, sure.
So everybody has certain psychophysical nature. If we, on our own to control the senses, it's not that easy. But depending upon our psychophysical nature, if we engage ourselves, all the available energy and time in the service of Guru or Prabhupada, that way we are always in a higher mode, not in the material mode. So, and that way we enjoy, internally we enjoy, the soul will be very happy. And so because we are naturally totally occupied and happy, we don't think about anything else. It may be different for everybody. Everybody's nature is different. It may be different activity.
True. Thank you, Mataji.
Any other questions? Sumudra Radhika Mataji put a comment. Thank you very much, Mataji, for that. Okay, so thank you very much, Bhuvaneshwari Mataji, for the nice class and thorough research, putting everything together, and also sharing pastimes about Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. It is really appreciated. Thank you very much. Just a couple of announcements from the temple side. So the first one is ISKCON Manchester has created a new WhatsApp group. The purpose of this WhatsApp group is that send all the communication about our programs and about temple, anything related to temple communication will be posted there. The main reason for creating this is that when we posted the messages, information in the IM congregation group, several devotees mentioned that the information is being lost because of the number of messages are being sent. And it's difficult to trace out as well sometimes if they want to find out some information about the temple. As a result of that, ISKCON Manchester has created a new group. Your only admin, only ISKCON Manchester will able to post the message, no one else. That way, information is available all the time, and it's easily traceable. Whenever you want, you can trace it. So we have sent an invitation for everyone to come and join this group via sharing the group link. I can see that at present around 47 people have joined. So please take this opportunity to join that group, and also you can convey this message to your friends and family or near and dear, anyone, whoever you talk to. So that's about the group information. And secondly, in 2 weeks' time, we will be celebrating Gauda Purnima festival. And let's see, Radha Vinod Prabhu is here. Would you like to give anything, a little brief, little update about Gauda Purnima festival, Radha Vinod Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you very much. So we are going to celebrate Gauda Purnima festival on 28th March. That's Sunday we have. So this is the first major festival of the year, in this new year. We have morning program, morning Mangala Arati until Bhagavatam class. It will be, Mangala Arati will be live telecasted from temple. Yeah. So I request everyone, to attend this program virtually. Yeah. And then, though it is a Sunday, since we have evening program, we don't have noon at this 1 p.m. lecture won't be there. Yeah. So evening program starts from 5 o'clock. This is very, very important. Okay. There is no afternoon Sunday feast lecture, but we have the major celebration in the evening starting from 5 p.m. Till 9 p.m. Okay. So we have Abhishekam, Pushpabhishekam, Mahabhishekam, yeah, and lecture, nice quiz, and a nice kirtan, and some video will be displayed, yeah, and it will end with Maharati. And another point is either today or tomorrow we are going to share the link to register for this festival, because we have children program. Those who have children, they can opt the option, and the children can say some nice slokas, yeah, learn and say nice sloka or a small story, or paint any thing related to Lord Gauranga. Yeah. So it's up to you. So if you have small children, please register for that one. Please opt that one. And also prasadam will be distributed in 2 ways. One is those who can visit the temple in between 2 to 4. Okay, you will get a prasadam box. Okay, from us. Yeah. If it is not possible for you, prasadam will be posted. That option is also there. Yeah. And another opportunity is to display your home altar, mainly Gaur Nitai for darshan. Okay, it is Gaur Purnima festival. Okay, decorate your Gaur Nitai deities very nicely, and you choose the option of giving that darshan to all the devotees. So that's 20 minutes or 30 minutes allocated for this one. I request all the devotees, once the link is shared in our groups, access the link and register for these things. Okay. Don't forget, while you register, you select, those options. Yeah. If you want the prasadam to be taken from temple, choose that option. If you want it to be posted, choose other option, like that. Yeah. So link will be shared either today or tomorrow. I request all the devotees to register for Gaur Purnima festival and forward the same link to all your friends and other family members. Yeah. So that we can celebrate nicely Gaur Purnima this year. That's it, Prabhuji. You are on mute.
Yeah, thank you very much, Radha Vinod Prabhu, for that information. Really appreciate. Yeah, just to reiterate the point that there won't be afternoon program on Sunday 28th, because there will be full morning program and as well as the evening program starting from 5 p.m., which may last for a good few hours. So we have decided that better not to have another program in between, so that everybody can take rest and attend these two programs, morning and evening, and take full benefit of the program. So yeah, please just make a note of that. And one more thing is that coming Friday is Bhajan Sandhya, and the poster will be out in the next week. Okay, so thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna Prabhu.
Anything? Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, when did you send the link? Did you send on I am ISKCON? I am group.
Yes. Mataji, is this regarding the new group?
Yes, please.
Okay. It was sent in IM congregation, but what we're going to do is, I know like once you miss it, you miss forever. We will send it out again, Mataji.
Thank you, Haribol.
Sure. And I will also share with you. I know Meena Jatani Mataji, I can share it with you directly, but we will from ISKCON Manchester side, we will share it again.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo.